Welcome to Board Ghost, a story broadcast with games as the engine.
If living is a highway, then heaven is a bus stop. Been waiting for a minute there, but has it been forever?
We believe you're out there, hungry for stories for shared experiences. We can't see you, can't hear you, yet we will play for you. This night's offering is the game Follow from Ben Robbins. To learn how we generate stories playing the game Follow, go check out our Follow Rules Primer. Our humble players, myself, John Holt, with me.
It's Ken Breeze.
And Dalton Gray.
We've picked our quest. We are playing the colony. Our colony is Lightbearer-Alpha. It is a vanguard. It is a sort of the first scout ship or first
That's right.
Flag
We were
planting ship.
shot off from the generational deep space, huge, civilizational ship, and we're sort of the vanguard. We are Lightbearer, not Light Bear, Lightbearer-Alpha. So Light Bear might be something down the future.
And so we're tasked with setting up this initial colony for the larger group of colonists who will arrive at some point. In the overall system, the overall idea is that this moon that we're on is launching one of the many stage points, a launch point for an attack on another civilization, another species or race of creatures in space. And we are all from Earth, which has become one big government and still sort of a hodgepodge of different cultures, but all ruled under one thumb.
Mm-hmm.
And that's our setup. So our challenges, this moon has hostile megafauna, so giant plants, giant plants, giant animals, and an oxygen-rich atmosphere. Also, within our ranks, because we're a diverse group, there's a lot of dissent and disagreement about how things should go. So character-wise, I'll start off. My main character is Horace Chow. He's a 56-year-old. He is the visionary or planner. He wants to tame the land and build a shining city or build his best version of this outpost. And his need from Ken's character is to convince the other colonists that we're doing fine. But Ken's character has artistic standards. My minor character is Kana. She is a woman who suffered an injury and replaced a good part of her body with cybernetic components. So she has lost a lot of her biological self.
And she's like a loner,
She's
right?
kind of the loner of the group.
Yeah.
One of the few people in the colony she's close to is Sibin, the youth, and we'll get to that character shortly. So Ken, who you got going?
My main character is a woman named Sharbanu. Sharbanu is 37. She wants a new society free from Earth's norms. However, to get that, she needs to fudge the data that the group has been collecting to sort of convince some of them of her plan, that they should sort of give it up. And so she's actually trying to convince Sibin of that, who we'll meet a little later. My minor character is a gentleman named Milo Beans. Milo Beans is the builder, the engineer, the constructor. And Milo Beans was genetically spliced with these legumes to cure a very virulent disease that he had contracted. So to fortify his body with these minerals from these plants.
My main character is Sibin Ucker. He's a 16-year-old youth. Something went wrong on the Generation ship on the way over here, and we landed on this planet, and Sibin was much younger than he should have been. My want as Sibin is to never forget where we came from. Sibin has a deep respect and love for Earth and our values and history. I need respect from Horace Chow. Our family has a deep history, and I am tired of being kicked around, and Horace is a total pillar of the community that we've landed on, and so I've set my sights on, I'm going to convince this guy that I'm not a kid, I can do what everybody else can do, I'm a peer, treat me as one. My second character is Nils Gezen. Nils is a homesteader, he's about 47 years old, he's got some nefarious deals. He's a good friend of Shar Banu, and Nils plans to use his influence to sabotage our mission.
So that is our setup. We're going to get into our first challenge and roll into our game. Our first challenge is deal with dangerous wildlife.
Get
Yep.
right
Get
into
right
it.
into it.
The wildlife is very dangerous here.
The assumption I'm under is that we've landed,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that
The forward base has been set up.
like there's perimeters, we kind of dug in or whatever. Like we may still have larger structures to do. I don't want to get
Sure.
too far or whatever.
I totally agree. We've landed recently and have started the process.
We're small and we look delicious. Is there more danger from the plant life than the animals, or like what do you guys feel is like a larger immediate threat?
So if we've just crashed into the planet or landed in some way, what did we land in? Did we land in like a jungly Vesuvian kind of like forest with a bunch of like vines and plants and stuff that we can't even like get out, and there's vines everywhere. They've like hacked into our fans and our propellers, and we can't get the vehicles out. Are there like ants that are huge that are like taking over everything, or are there some curious mastodons that are like these giant megalith of creatures that are like, what is this big thing?
As I'm like, wouldn't we know where we're landing? Like we're going to pick this specific place that is really good for us. Though obviously our data is probably out of date. Our survey thing, our survey pod, our survey satellite came here.
I like that
a long time ago.
I like the areas overgrown. Maybe we're like on a river or an estuary or something. There's like fresh water, but it's
Overgrown
still like
works for me.
like a very overgrown spot. So there's, in terms of like visibility, it's except for like what we see off the river, even that there could be some like overhanging stuff.
And if it is a source of water, like things could be traveling from far and wide to like come drink.
Right.
Maybe it's like an oasis kind of a thing.
Right. I almost kind of like that there are like mastodons or other like
I like that.
things that just aren't afraid of us.
Yeah.
But aren't like just because basically what makes them dangerous is that they're just gigantic and they don't pay attention to us, and they're curious about us, like like fleshy weird spider squirrel things that are 2 stories tall coming and like picking at us.
Just the very idea of like illumination, like non-natural illumination, I think would draw things as well.
And
so I love it.
Keep them up at night and drive them crazy.
Who knows? Yeah.
So we're dealing with dangerous wildlife. I think our like initial thing is just to establish.
I'm
some
warming up to
boundaries.
crash landing. Did we crash land or or was this a controlled land?
I think it's a controlled landing, but it's such a. We still have to clear all this land. We still these vines. It's not like a machete. It's like
No.
oh shit. We need to repurpose the fan blades from the engine to get through this thing.
Yeah.
The photos we got back showed these plants, but it didn't show relative scale.
Yeah.
These plants are made of titanium.
Yeah, they're gigantic. So
Awesome. Okay.
So initially it's just like establishing
So that's great.
like
So-
some fear too in
Yeah.
these animals.
Yeah, sort of.
Like that they don't they have no sense of like, I don't know, how long this is a group thing, so how long do you think it would take for us to deal with, like, to establish at least boundaries? Like, it's more than just like, hey, we have a fence up. It's like,
it's like they've come again.
Yeah,
we need to
like every
deploy the sonic disruptors.
Right. Like, because there could be like these aren't even apex predators. This is like
they are prey.
Right.
Normally,
But they're
maybe.
huge.
They are huge.
Are we setting up like cultivation as well? Are we like trying to like farm or hunt?
I like the
Yeah.
idea that we're preparing, right? We're the forward group, we're the vanguard, so we're clearing land for the farming
Okay.
and the city planning.
establishing perimeters.
So we landed
But
by
that could
water.
but that could be a later challenge.
Yeah,
too, that,
exactly.
like,
Okay.
That's another
Exactly.
stage.
Yeah. So maybe the first stage is to clear land, establish a
yeah,
perimeter.
just make sure that we're not getting trampled by mega,
They don't just like
And to
step on us.
scout too, because we have to scout. Like if it's
Right.
big ships that are coming in, and I'm imagining like
Yeah.
StarCraft, like
Yeah.
they're just landing a command center
exactly.
on top of a plot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
we
we
have to
kinda
like
have to
pour
scout it
concrete
out.
and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Like how many we need? 200 square feet
Hectares.
to pour concrete.
And we're by the estuary. The mega mastodons are coming here to drink, so they are trampling. They've already crushed a number of our equipment pieces, probably some modules that we deployed. They've just been destroyed, and now we're super worried. Like one got in, like he probably like a baby one got into our camp and just like started to just
Crush
wreck
tents.
shit.
To stay on track, or to at least we're falling behind already.
Yeah.
What if it's like 3 weeks?
I like that. I think that
Yeah.
makes perfect sense. I was
Does
going to
that
even
make-
say a month or something like that, but yeah, 3 weeks is perfect.
Does that work for everybody?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll kick it to Sibin to set the first scene.
So Sibin Kana and Milo Beans.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, what just happened was the camp got trampled. So Horrors had a big meeting with everybody, and it was the tone was bleak, and basically like, we're way behind schedule, guys. You know, we have to get out there. We have to establish this perimeter, and we need to find a way to keep these things out. And Sibin was sitting on the edge of his seat. He's like, okay, this is the time that he's going to call on me to establish the perimeter in the most dangerous part of the world. Here we go. And Horse is like, all right, so me and Sharbanu and Nils are going to go and establish the perimeter. Sibin, Milo, and Kana, you guys stay here and just watch the stuff. It's Sibin, Milo Beans, and Kana attempting to not get bored and keep the mastodons or these big friendly beasts out of our immediate perimeter. We are very familiar with these very large friendly beasts, but we've only been on the planet for maybe like a month now, not even,
Yeah.
2 weeks.
Yeah, something like that.
We haven't encountered the migratory predators of this planet.
Yep.
So they will arrive while Sibin and Milo Beans and
All
Kana
right.
are hanging out. It's high noon. A common thing that we're doing around the camp is moving this one type of rock that's pretty much ever present into these big piles to be chunked up, basically, to form the concrete that we have to pour later.
Yep.
Sibin, Milo, and Kana are just kind of like dragging their feet. It's high noon. We've been doing this for the last 6 hours while the rest of the crew has been out adventuring. You
So
know.
we're physically pulling rocks out of the ground and moving them?
Yeah, just picking up
Awesome.
rocks, putting them on like, we have like primitive carts and we're just dragging them.
Sure. Not even
Yeah.
repulsor lifts? This is bullshit.
I know. The
And it's like
hyperlaxian cubes.
Oppressively humid.
It
too.
is super humid. We're in the jungle, man. We're in the fucking tropical shit. So Milo Beans is there. He's loving this shit. He was built for this, pulling rocks out of the ground. He's sort of stoic, like just happy to be here, pulling rocks out of the ground.
So Sibin is picking up rocks and plopping them onto this sort of looks like almost like a Red Rider wagon. Like it's just got these tiny little wheels, and turns to Kana, who's perhaps maybe a little further away in the field.
Yeah, and just like has a claw that lifts these things. Like she's been rebuilt to do this,
Uh-huh.
to do this stuff, and she's not enjoying herself at all. Very uncomfortable to sweat onto her cybernetics.
Kana, Kana,
Yes, what?
Kana,
Sabin.
can you hear me?
Yes, Sabin, I can hear you.
How much do you think these rocks weigh in Earth pounds?
This one currently weighs 206 pounds.
What? What?
This one weighs 206 pounds.
What about the one in the other? What the other one? The one in the cart?
That one, she puts down this larger rock and picks up the slightly smaller one. 68 Earth pounds.
What about in metric tons?
Well, we're not going to have to worry about how much they weigh.
She's just like fiddling.
We're not going to have to worry about how much they weigh. They're going to be beautiful. Look at this ochre color that these rocks have. This is going to be beautiful concrete that we're going to lay.
As Kana like takes it and throws it into the chipper, and it all comes out as a gray slurry on the other side.
I know, but it's so boring. There's nothing happening here. We're picking up rocks when everybody else is out, I don't know, swashbuckling, chopping through the forest. What, like?
I don't know. I mean, laying the foundations for our future society seems pretty exciting to me.
Laying the foundation for our
Their task is far more dangerous than ours. This is simple grunt work.
Yes.
Yes, it's fine. It's good.
I would rather wait and be alive until my family arrives.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you?
Well, listen.
Something could happen out there.
Something could happen out there. Something could happen in that cave over there.
No, happen. Oh, what cave?
Are you telling me that you haven't noticed the cave?
I, in earlier surveys, saw when we were clearing that we made an opening.
Charbon said she took some photos and it's empty.
Mm-hmm. Well, last night I snuck out to the cave and it's not empty.
Oh, what's inside?
Well, I don't know. It goes really deep though. It goes really, really deep.
Are there more rocks in there? Says Milo. Speaking of more rocks.
Yes, Milo, there's all the rocks you could want. They're deep ochre.
Oh, great.
Deep, deep ochre.
Could maybe get some sort of like color pattern for our cement.
You're going to put color pattern on cement that a ship is going to land on top of that no one will ever see, ever.
Strong, beautiful foundation doesn't mean it's not strong and beautiful.
There's plenty of rocks right around here by the river.
Oh, you like those river rocks, huh, Kana?
Sure.
Okay, I guess we'll just, move these rocks and not see the monster that might be in that cave.
Well, that sounds dangerous.
It's probably great not to see the monster that's in that cave.
But what if it comes out? What did you see in there, kid?
I just kind of peeked and then I ran away. I got really scared. I got really, really scared. I couldn't see. You guys are the first people that I'm telling about it.
Are you sure that you didn't just see shadows?
No, because it was drippy.
It was dripping in the cave.
It was like a goopy kind of like drippy thing. Like there was like a big like a fang, and then like it was like.
Perhaps based on the scale of these creatures, that's more of a burrow than a cave.
What, like a den?
Sure.
Listen, my parents used to tell me stories about a thing called a sarlacc.
Yeah, those were, I remember watching holovids with those. There was an early Earth documentary about them.
Milo shrugs. I'm not familiar. Do they eat rock?
They eat people. They eat whole ships. They could eat our entire generation ship. Our ship could try and land, and this thing could just pop out of this cave that we never explored because, Sharbanu got the videotapes.
We can't have that.
I mean, go for it, kid. Do it. Go check it out.
All right, well, I'm going to go check out this cave all alone and could get killed. You don't have any
No, I'll come with you, kid. Come on, let's go look at the cave. Maybe there'll be some rocks there.
All right, okay. So
Technically, I'm not allowed to leave a cluster of 3. I'll come with you.
technically, I'm not allowed to leave a cluster of 3. Okay, so Sibin picks up one of the sort of club-shaped rocks and runs off towards this cave. That it's less of a cave and more just sort of like an outcropping of rocks. Sibin like runs up to it and like jumps on the other side of this like rock, basically just like jumps in head first.
Milo Beans is much more plodding, tall, broad man, probably wearing overalls, is not very fast, but he's very strong.
Kana just sort of leisurely strolling up,
Not as strong as Kana.
activating some tactical explosives.
Yeah, and I think Milo has the red wagon behind him that he's pulling towards the rocks pile / burrow, and I think in his other hand he probably has like a pickaxe, space pickaxe.
So as you approach,
Where'd you go? Seven.
Is this?
What is that, music?
I guess so, yeah.
Sibin pops out from behind the rocks and he's fashioned these like leaves into like a big giant like raptor fan on either side of his face. And he pops out and goes, ah!
Kind of raises an arm and like a tactical explosive starts to prime on her.
Milo is totally startled and steps back, not realizing that the wagon's right behind him as he goes head over heels, just falling over, just totally crashing to the ground. Ah!
Are you okay?
That's a good one, kid. Yeah, I'm fine.
Kind of lowers her robot arm and her one eye stops glowing red. And yeah, that was really funny, kid. That's great.
I got you guys.
You got
me,
us.
It's better than
got me
moving
good.
rocks.
You got
That's
me good.
true.
Dripping fangs, kid. What are you gonna think of next?
Yeah, there isn't much of a cave back there. There's just kind of like that. Oh, shh.
Come on, let's get back to the rocks.
Guys. Shh.
Come on,
kid.
enough of this stuff.
No, seriously, guys. There's a thing over there that I've never seen before.
All right.
Come on. You can't fool me twice, kid.
Will you Milo, come over here. Look.
Kind of slips over and looks.
Milo's riding himself and sort of riding the wagon and putting rocks back into the wagon, and he just doesn't seem interested in
Kana
this shit.
is paying attention.
Kana, thank you. Get your robot eye
Yeah.
over there. Look
All right.
behind the rock.
Okay, yeah.
What do you see?
I mean, it's a big, flat, leathery, I guess, is that a tail?
I don't know, but I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, I don't know. Better safe than sorry, as she begins arming her arm weapon again.
Yes, this is a thing. This is a big thing. We've never seen this thing before.
I look up, Milo Beans looks up, he's kind of harming herself, and he definitely sort of goes a little bit more pale underneath his very sort of tan skin. What is it? And he's backing up.
So the other things, the things that come through here pretty regularly, right? They're like big, like they look almost like an elephant, right?
Yeah. If an elephant had 14 legs, sure.
Trompers.
So like what eats those things?
Nothing. They're too big.
I mean, those parasites that we found in that one in the shit.
Horace didn't tell me anything about a parasite.
Well, it was just a 14-foot worm in some of one of those. I don't know. It shot on the bank. You didn't see it? We just dumped it in the water.
I can't believe what.
Don't
We're
feel
making
bad.
all the noise.
Don't feel bad. Don't feel bad because this is my first time hearing about it too.
So when Sibin screamed earlier, it echoed on the rock behind us. Horace didn't tell me anything about a parasite. And like some birds take off from the canopies.
Well, how big are these birds?
Flying things. Crows.
More like yeah,
Skates.
Yeah.
These
little gnats that are actually the size of melons,
Melon gnats.
watermelons.
Sibin makes a whole bunch of noise about the parasite, which why didn't Horace tell me about the parasite?
It's just it's a worm, dude. I don't know what more you need to know, Sibin.
What did it look like? What was it guts like? Was it green? Was it blue?
I think again we just kind of dumped it in the river. It looked like it had passed away. That thing's kind of leans around the rock, like looking past you now, where you're no longer looking.
Mm-hmm. What, Kana?
Don't run. Walk slowly this way.
Kana,
And Kana starts backing up.
Kana.
Milo had been backing up already, sort of holding the pickaxe in two hands, but now is like looking back at the wagon full of rocks, looking at Kana who's leaving, looking at the wagon full of rocks. What is it?
Kana, I can't move.
Come on. And Kana grabs your shoulder and starts like pulling you slowly back.
Tell me what it looks like. Tell me what it looks like. Tell me what it looks like. Tell me what it looks like.
I think that's when a mastodon walks right behind us. Thung, thung, thung. We were in dereliction of our other perimeter duties. And that's when a thing leaps over our head from behind the rock.
And it's huge.
Yeah.
Like a tigery thing.
Yeah, like that leathery
Yeah,
flap
yeah.
is one of its like many scales from its tail. So it kind of has this like almost like
Fanned
flappy,
out.
like stegosaur slash
Yeah. Almost like a platypus, sort of.
or what is that? Like a peacock
Mm-hmm.
kind of like tiger thing.
Kind of like a tiger mixed with like a Komodo dragon, maybe.
Yeah.
Yes.
And like huge.
Yes.
So this like mass just sort of shadows over all of us and leaps through the air at this like six-legged mastodon and grips it by the neck, flips over it, flipping the mastodon onto the rock crusher. that
Yeah.
we just did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just like earthquake, like
Yeah.
We're knocked to our feet, basically.
Yeah,
we
we're
can't even
thrown,
keep, or maybe
yeah.
you can keep your feet, Kana.
No.
But no, yeah, I guess not. We're all thrown to our feet. The mastodon just trumpets like this terrible cry that we've never heard before. That's sort of gurgling even because it's not even able to get enough air. But it's just like we watch as this thrashing sort of mob chaos is happening.
and it's alligator-esque, like it's doing the death whip.
That's what I thought it was originally, honestly, is I thought it was going to be a huge alligator because we're right by the water. Yeah, it is. It's like spinning around basically to sort of curl itself around it, bite into it.
Sibin turns to Kana and goes, "That is so cool."
This is a huge setback.
And that scene.
End scene.
The mastodon, I think that the predator drags it off to like eat it somewhere else. We have to like follow it to where this happened to put it down because we can't have it be around here. That's sort of the scene right now. Is it's a few days afterwards.
We're tracking.
We're tracking it exactly. Sharbanu is there with her video equipment, her posterity equipment. What do we think about if Sharbanu has the video equipment in her eye, like it's part of her?
Yeah. Well, however you want to do it.
All right.
Is it like a Geordie LaForge implant that's like on top, or
Yeah,
is it like a
yeah.
cyborgy?
It's
like
more of an
in the eye?
implant, I think,
Okay.
that you affix on. So she's got like
Okay.
this one camera eye that she's sort of affixed on and sort of
She's been
watching
souped
things
up.
with. Yeah, souped up. I think that's a better way to think about it. And with her, it's going to be Sibin. It's going to be Sibin, and it's going to be Horse as well. It's going to be the three of us going. And the reason is because you've seen this thing, so you know what it looks like, Sibin, but we need to track it to where it is, and then we can come up with a plan to take it out maybe, but we need to at least know the lay of the land.
Hmm.
So we're bringing you to make sure that you can identify this thing.
Sibin is stoked.
And-
Absolutely stoked.
And I mean, more selfishly, Sharbanu really fought, really pushed back against anyone who was like, no, the kid shouldn't go. No. And just like, no, he should go. No, he needs to see this. Like, how else will he grow into what we need him to be? Like this, and he has the knowledge that we need. He has to come. And more, I think, selfishly, she wants Sibin to be convinced that we need to build a new society here and leave everything behind. So she wants more time with him to indoctrinate him.
So how far along are we in this tracking?
We have been gone from camp for probably 2 days. We're just on the trail. We're not even sure how long this thing is going to go for. We're like, oh shit. It's been 2 days. We're still following it. We are in the jungle. It's obvious that this is like a game path because this huge mastodon creature has been dragged through here. So I think we see blood and stuff like that, crushed trees, different things that are, I mean, they're trees to us, but like, little bamboo groves to these huge creatures, almost like just come up to their knees or whatever.
Yeah.
But we're having to follow them through this stuff.
I imagine Sibin is one part like playing the Boy Scout to the T, like really living up the adventurer lifestyle and like up early before everybody else, shitting in a hole in the woods, being about being out doing stuff. And then the other part is just mocking, basically copying, not mocking in a bad way, but just copying everything Horus does, taking the lead and really just like over enthusiastically about being out with Horus doing this stuff. Like it's all for approval.
For Horus, he's going to deal with Sibin how he has to.
Of course, yeah, we'll play that out.
Get there. But it is important, again, within his need that this data, that this is not as dangerous a threat as we may believe. This is a solvable situation. We're fine. This is fine.
Where we pick up, where we've sort of been having this ongoing debate during this tracking, maybe it sort of tapers off here and there, but we always sort of come back around to it. Well, I just don't know. Is it a part of a colony? Is it a single creature? Does it have a mate? Does it have children? This could be a big problem.
Well, it's probably fine.
I guess we'll see.
I mean, I'm going to assume that it's a solitary hunter, and we're going to deal with it appropriately, and everything's going to be fine. Everything will work out. In fact, we might be able to, if we can put this creature down, if it is a predator, we might be able to work this to our advantage. This might actually be a good thing.
Yes, maybe.
It's unfortunate that Sibin and the others weren't able to get us better information about the creature, that we have to, it's unfortunate that they weren't focused on watching their perimeter. But it's,
I mean, I really expected better of Kana. You can't really expect Sibin to take the lead there.
He was one of the three tasked with that responsibility. Sibin, this is nothing new that I'm laying out here. So this is,
well, I think it's all probably just going to be fine. It's probably a solitary hunter. I mean, look at these tracks. I found some tracks over here.
We are standing in a footprint.
We're all standing in the footprint together. Yes. I see the track as well. But I was going to just mention that, Earth made many assumptions about this world that have proved to be untrue. So I don't know how ready I am to
it was a matter
assumptions.
Of perspective. And again, we need to maintain the correct perspective that this is all, it's a little larger than perhaps we expected, but it's going to be fine.
It's really fucking big.
It is big. You were saying I didn't collect data. I mean, I saw it, and Kana saw it, and Milo, we all agree that it's very big. And I saw the pattern on the neck. I told you about the pattern on the neck. Very good memory about this thing. Red scales, then blue scales, then white scales, then red scales, then blue scales, then white scales, then red scales, then blue scales. See, it's all fine. We know what it looks like.
Sure. Yeah.
We're tracking it.
It would have been good if the perimeter cameras were on and not trained on whatever stunt you were pulling.
Listen, it's cool.
I mean,
cool.
that footage will go a long way to raising the spirits of those who come after us. I mean, it's
all right.
not all for
shadow.
nothing.
You can see the shadow jumping over. First of all, there's got to be some respect. Like, I hacked into the computers and moved the cameras over. I mean, I knew, like,
production
value.
It was great that they were not all crushed when the mastodon was brought down in the middle of the camp. That was really helpful.
That is great.
And
Yeah.
so we've been walking. We've continued to walk and talk. And
How focused are we? Are we too deep in conversation?
I do feel like we're pretty deep in conversation at this point. We're sort of standing in this
Giant
footprint. And we're just sort of having this debate. And I sort of am like, we need to move on. We won't get this figured out until we have the data that we need. You gave us good data, Sibin. You did good.
I think it's important that perhaps me and Sibin are the ones to advance initially when we reach the predator.
I think that that's a wise idea. I will stay back and film everything that's happening.
Yeah, I think it's better too I wouldn't even film yet until we've gotten a better look at the situation. We don't know how it's going to react to that.
Horace and I both agree that you should not film.
I do want to make sure, though, that you get the credit that you deserve.
Oh.
Charbonneau, this will all be made
accolades.
clear. In fact, right now you're running tape
Charbonneau's
right
got
now.
a point.
You're running bites. Yeah.
This is all being recorded
all the
for
time.
Good.
posterity.
Perfect. So again, Sibin is helping us track the creature.
I am.
To make up for dereliction of earlier duties.
In contributing to after finding the creature.
And he will be helping me in scouting the area, and we'll be making sure that it's safe for documentation when we reach the predator.
You know, Charbonneau, not everybody was trained on the generation ship on how to track a creature of this scale and magnitude. So, I think Horace's got a point. You should probably leave it to the how do I say this?
Expendables.
Neither of you are expendable. Never think that. That's not true. You're both very valuable members of this team.
I'm one of the older members of the team. All of my planning is documented. My successor is in his incubation chamber. Really, should something happen to me, it's fine. And Sibin didn't even finish the basic training programs from his chamber.
Most of them.
So if either one of us is taken out, it's not going to be a huge detriment to this mission.
I couldn't disagree more. Who knows what types of flourishing you'll do on this new world? We have no idea what sort of effects this wonderful bounty will have on us. I mean, we could maybe eat a mastodon and grow 5 sizes.
That could happen. That would be cool.
There's so many different things that could happen.
I'm sure that there are many interesting things awaiting us, and that's why I think it's important that we convey the correct story. That we show the information.
We're on the same page. We should not record any of the information.
Yeah, we should tackle this situation tactfully.
I like what you did there.
Well, we should find the den. I think that's probably. Let's get going. Wait. Do you guys see those? See those trees moving?
I mean, we're not wearing zoom lenses, but
oh yeah, totally. Over
I'm
there.
seeing those trees, those red, blue, white trees moving.
Wait, Charbonneau, those aren't trees.
What are they?
Okay.
They're walking? They're moving?
Remain perfectly calm. Okay, I've been through this. Okay, we just don't run. We stay here. It's gonna go for something bigger. It's not gonna see us.
this planet's very big.
Is that the end of the scene?
Sure.
I feel like that's sort of the end of the scene.
This is a few nights later. It's the same 3 characters again.
Okay.
So Hors, Sibin, and Shar Banu are up a tree.
So are we like hundreds of feet in the air at this
yeah,
point?
we're nearly
1,000 feet in the air?
nearly 2 miles. Up in the
2
air.
miles in the air? Love it. All right.
We've reached a part where the what we're calling
a dragon?
what we're calling the dragon,
The dragon
is it can't advance higher in the tree without breaking the
Right.
tree. Like we're
Right.
at the thin, tall part of the tree.
My God. It chases up a tree.
And we've been up there, we've been climbing for days.
Days at this point.
We're so screwed. Oh my God.
Subsisting off sap.
Yeah, we have some sea rations, and we're like,
we have our sea ration.
Sibin tested potentially one of the fruit along the way.
Oh yeah.
Against advice,
Got
and
very bad diarrhea.
but
Oof.
we've been actually
Take some salt
We've
pills.
all gotten used to that.
Fall adjusted.
We're having to like bat
Mm.
off
Fall adjusted.
We're having to like bat off the melon-sized gnats and other
Yeah.
bugs that are just like this might be a place where we find like a giant ant or something like that. Who
Yeah.
knows?
Yeah.
Have you seen them around?
Is it an Erie? Are there like birds that perch at this height?
Yeah, we see these things like skates kind of like gliding by, these massive leathery things, but that we're tiny. Like we are, we're like, what are we to ant? I mean, we're like,
We are ants to ants.
yeah,
we're like,
almost,
we're
yeah.
grubs. Like,
We're
these
small,
little,
yeah.
tiny. Like these ants are going to be.
So
the ants are the size of a normal elephant to us, right?
That's really, that's sure.
That's
Or whatever the equivalent is. There's some sort
Yeah.
of insect. So, but we've been up this tree. We've been stationed in this spot for a while. We've been radioing back to the group. They're going to start sending people to help us. But
Oh, they just got to get the rocket boosters on Kana, and then she can fly out here and get us.
this is one of the like vantages, the tallest
Yeah,
advantages we've had in a while.
Yeah.
And starting to look out over this world, and we're seeing more of the creatures in it. We're starting to we've watched the ecology a little bit. Like we're starting to get how it works. And yeah, he's seeing possibilities in this world, and it's going to take quite a bit of work, but yeah. So initially, this conversation right now, we're sitting up a tree.
Do we have what are we trying to do right now? Or what are we?
Right. It's kind of a waiting game.
Okay, we're just waiting.
Yeah.
All right.
We're just existing. Cause
Perfect.
We made
we have
contact.
this. Yeah, we've radioed. It's
Okay.
just a matter. It's
We're
a matter
waiting.
of time whether we don't know what's going to happen with this thing. Whether it's going to it's still trying to get us.
Oh yeah.
But it's also knows that it's too dangerous to make the full attempt. So it's
And
just
it's
kind of
snapped off a
it's
few
like
branches already.
It's like
below it.
circling, like hopping on lower branches below
Yeah.
us, kind of just circling, looking up at us. We shot at it or something. So
It's pissed off at
yeah,
us.
yeah.
This place is so beautiful. This footage I'm getting is amazing. Just look at these vistas.
All these resources, everything here is a building material.
It's true. To build a better life.
We could hollow out. I mean, look at this dragon. Could house how many people if we hollowed out its bones?
I mean,
Yeah.
or think of how many rocks it could carry if we were able to control it somehow.
I really think though that we're going to have to establish dominance over. We're just like Earth. We were the most dangerous animal. Unfortunately, we are one of the least akin to parasites on this planet. I think we're going to have to reestablish our place in this universe. I mean, it's similar to why we're going after Europa. I think this could be just the raw potential here.
There's a discussion to be had about parasites and, more like those parasites that live on the larger creatures, more like a symbiotic relationship, that the parasites bring something to the larger host.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that there's going to be a conflict. I think I'm clearly seeing a path of just wiping this whole slate clean, harvesting the whole plot. It's one, yes, I can understand maybe farming some of the smaller herbivores, some domestication, maybe put them in some sort of cage and keep them static so that they're tender.
Yeah.
And feed groups. Actually, just cut off what you need to feed hundreds
That
and let it heal over. I think
sounds terrible. Why would you do that to a creature?
to exist to spread humanity through the stars.
Well, we're here. We're already here. Let's
Yeah,
make the
exactly.
best
Let's make the most of it.
best, most different sides of the coin, maybe.
On that sentence, the tree that we're on is sort of swaying
Ooh.
a little bit far to the right as the
Tighten your straps. Tighten your straps.
the dragon is sort of far below. Yeah. It sounds really cool, guys.
I mean, how do you even propose to defeat such a creature?
It snaps from below.
We've seen no tool use so far. These are creatures that are at the basic levels of nature.
Totally basic creatures down there.
We're gonna have to establish what we know from Earth and make this place ours.
Go back to basic.
No, we can use the materials that are here, but I think we make the tools that we need of this place.
Yeah, we can carve tools, and Sim looks down, and again the tree sort of sways far to the left.
I just don't see what type of tool you're going to build that will defeat this creature. This dragon, we can't lead it back to camp. Something has to be done about it.
We could drop something on it.
We could drop it. I mean, we are assuming that it could. Do you think it could survive a 2-mile fall, even at its size?
Well, that's a good idea. That's honestly, guys, it's very hard for me to think straight. I am very tired. Honestly, I'm a little scared. But it's no, I'm not. I didn't say that. We could drop. How would we drop it?
Well, I guess the best way would be to get it to come up here where it is less stable.
The tree sways far to the right.
Yeah. I mean, we've pestered it enough that it's interested in us tiny things.
We'd have to drive it mad to make it come up here.
Yeah, we'd have to annoy it pretty heavily.
What about the bugs that we came across on the way up?
Perhaps.
Bugs is an interesting thing to call them. They're the size of my forearm.
I don't know. I guess we'll have to see. We could dangle bait.
Oh. Why is everyone looking at me? Why is everyone looking at me?
I think that's C.
Yeah.
Because that's it.
That's
so
it.
now we go to the end of the challenge.
Let's see if we were able to succeed in this challenge.
So we're going to draw stones. That's how this is done. These are not dice, they're stones. So we're going to have no stones in the pool, but we're going to start by adding a red and white. So that's going to be our basic pool. We're going to draw these from a bag in a second. Everybody takes 2 red. If your main character is unhappy about this path that we're currently on, hold a red stone. If your character actually wants this quest to fail overall based on where we're at, hold 2 red stones. Otherwise, hold no red stones. And then we'll reveal simultaneously.
3,
2, 1, reveal. So 1 red stone goes in the pool, and we put them all back. So now everybody's going to take 1 white and 1 red. As a player, do you think the Fellowship did what was necessary to succeed at the challenge? We hold 1 white if yes, red if no. So as a player, do you think that our group so far is doing what they need to do to deal with the dangerous wildlife? Ooh,
Nice.
All right, so now we're going to throw all these in here. So we're going to draw 1 and reveal it. So it's a red. And we draw a second, and it's a white. So red, then white. And so here's our outcome. We're going to lose a character, but win the challenge.
Ooh.
Whoa.
So we've succeeded in dealing with the dangerous wildlife, but we're going to lose a character. As a group, we're going to kind of describe this outcome of the challenge to say like what winning is. So we'll kind of come to a consensus there.
So I mean, an immediate success that comes to mind is that like Sivin makes a noble sacrifice. We're at the top of this tree. There's only one of this monster that we've seen so far. He, either jumps down and like distracts it or knocks it off or like does some crazy thing and gets trampled in the process. But the creature that is this massive thing falls off the tree and splats. And then everybody gets all the goodies that are inside. It's like a big piñata.
I like that idea, but I don't want to lose Sibin just yet. So I was actually thinking about Kana. Kana arrives flying to save us
Oh.
and blows up in its mouth.
Oh.
Something like that.
Yeah, that's interesting. Like I guess the overall like how we deal with dangerous wildlife too, like the success
Yeah.
with that act
Yeah.
is we kill this thing,
Mm-hmm.
we take it back and like
Use its blood to like mark our territory
and
or
hang its
whatever.
head
Yeah.
by the
Yeah.
riverside.
Yeah.
Mm.
Like we're the big boys now
Yeah.
or whatever. Right.
Even though we're little ants. We're little
Right.
pesky ants.
But like there's
Big
a
head.
Yep.
we've made, it's
Yep.
it's the scent and
It's gonna turn
More
into
of this
the main gate of our town soon.
Eventually it'll be
Just
like World
just
of
a
Warcraft.
skull,
yeah.
yeah, just a skull of this thing.
yeah, Kana in the course of coming over to help us out, just like she's sort of like droning in on her like go-go gadget helicopter
And
extension.
does the monster get like really pissy and starts like freaking out or
I
something?
think
or
that's
is
when it just like
Yeah.
snaps
Snaps.
and gets like out of the
Oh.
air.
Yeah.
it like leaps out for her.
Yeah. And we see it start to go over as it realizes
Yeah.
that it just like jumped off the tree to catch this thing. And then we hear like as
Doot, doot.
Kana,
Doot,
like pops, and the head is like the eyes pop out
Yeah.
and it's smoking as it
Yeah.
falls to the ground, and
It splats all over
Yeah.
our faces.
Definitely. And I
just get-
mean, just the reverberations as this thing hits the ground. I mean, obviously we feel it in the tree. It's like an earthquake.
We succeeded. We did it.
We did it.
We killed this giant thing.
We dealt with the dangers of wildlife.
So now we're going to go
No, I'm sorry to
to
see Connie.
the next challenge.
There's a couple things coming to mind. So if we've just killed this giant thing, theoretically we would have meat.
So many resources.
We'd have so much resources.
Like, we
And
don't
building
even know what to do
materials.
with all this
Thing.
shit.
Yeah,
It's
the
like tallow.
Ribs.
Yeah. So if anything, we have too many resources. I could see a disease showing up.
So it sounds like our challenge is that with a disease.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Treat a disease.
Treat a disease.
I think it's of this planet. So we ate this big predator, and
Yeah.
we have been, and we've had this material all around us,
Yep.
and something has been like living in it. Like maybe the way that the thing is decomposing, or the way that we've been working with the materials of this giant creature and the other stuff that's around us. A disease of the planet, or like the thing itself could have had like mad cow or something. It could,
Yeah.
like be.
Yeah.
What are
Cool.
the symptoms?
I think it's paralysis. It's like a neurotoxin kind of disease. Like the body itself is strong, but you start to lose like your muscles. Maybe your muscles start to atrophy, or you like lose feeling in parts of your body, and the linings of your eyes turn like this like bright yellow. Would we have a quarantine, or what's our sort of like medical?
I say we have some, like, because we have like incubator pods, so we have a couple like clean rooms
Mhm.
for like genetics and some sterilization.
Yeah, I want Hors to be the
Got
main
it.
character
Okay.
for the disease.
Got it. So he'll set the first scene then.
Okay. Horse is amongst a group of, like, he's in quarantine,
Yeah.
like behind the plastic with maybe, like, we're a pretty small crew. We're smaller yet, with like 4 or 5 other people who have contracted this illness. We don't know how contagious it is. We don't know, like, we suspect it's maybe foodborne or bloodborne. We're not sure. Maybe everybody's eaten some of this stuff and not everyone's turned yet. So we're not sure what the deal is. He's in quarantine. Nils and Shar are outside quarantine,
Got it.
watching him as he protests that he shouldn't be kept in quarantine.
Mm.
And that, oh, wait, before we get into the scene, though, we do have to figure out how long, what is
that's
our
right.
time
What is
span
our
to treat this
timeline
disease?
for
What's the
treating?
clock?
Like what?
Oh,
How
as a
long?
group.
Does,
as
how
a
long
group,
does
as
the,
a group, we need to figure that
how
out.
long does the treating?
It's less that the disease will kill anyone in 2 days. It's more that if we don't get it solved in 2 days, it'll be a cascading failure moment.
Okay.
That like we'll lose enough people that the entire mission will fail.
Right, because we can't build things, we can't accomplish tasks.
Yeah.
We're totally consumed with taking care of people.
So no one explodes because of this disease.
No one will
I'm
explode.
waiting, man. I'm waiting.
But
All
Be
right.
people
waiting.
will be
Like people have like psychosomatic visions, and they tell
Yeah.
you your deepest fears.
So I think it's 2 days.
2 days.
tight.
Just
All
to
right.
deal with it.
2
Okay,
days to
before,
deal with
because
it.
we're
Yeah.
to stay on schedule.
All right,
We're on
stay on
task.
schedule. Yeah.
Horrors is in confinement. There are a few other people. He's the most recent one to be diagnosed with it. He's been limping.
Yep.
His eyes are starting to yellow. He'd been wearing dark glasses to try to hide it, but his limp was
Your
hard. as he
jaundice
fell.
eye. You
Yeah,
can't hide your jaundice eye.
exactly. So there are a couple patients who are fully bedridden at this
Just
point,
totally.
just locked up. One that is like walking on a walker,
Mhm.
and then another has kind of more like dragging half their body kind
Right.
of thing. So it's
Like they had a
it's
stroke or something.
yeah. So
Yeah.
it's kind of all over. It's not hitting in specific areas all the time. It's sort of like the pattern isn't developed yet. We don't know. Horse is trying to is in this spot and is trying to make you see his reason.
Mm.
Listen, Nils, you know that you're going to need as many minds in the lab as possible. At this point, both my hands are working.
Mm.
This disease is going to spread to all of us.
Yes. Well, at this point, Horrors, I've been out of the lab for 45 minutes dealing with your supplications for freedom.
This is making great footage. I will say that much.
That's the other thing I wanted to get to. But first, I need to make sure that we're putting enough people. There's at least one other scientist in here who could work the equipment.
We have everyone that we need, everyone that we could possibly safely have in the lab, Horse.
Dr. Patel will look at all of this. Don't worry. They'll tell us soon.
You'll be putting everyone at risk. We don't know how it spreads. We don't know what it is. We don't even know what to call it.
It's And we also don't know how long it's going to last.
What its effects might be. Maybe we'll gain some sort of psychic abilities. I can't wait to see.
I don't think that I think that the temporary psychosis brought on by the disease, that those who are most locked up, and you kind of turn as they gibber and go, "You'll all die in a world of fire." You'll all die. That passes, and they're completely lucid and could be very helpful. Again, the more time that we waste. Yes, I understand you need to get back to the lab, but we could be multiplying our efforts by combining them.
Horace, no one understands the needs for the success of the documentation and the solution and the treatment of this disease than I. Okay, my job here is to assure that we have a prosperous community of settlers on this planet. So I don't appreciate being talked to, being dragged in here, forced. You're going to pull me out of the lab, out of my station. I'm doing blood tests, Horace. They're gonna go bad.
I had hoped you would not bring Charbonneau here, but...
Oh, this is good stuff. And some of us are thinking that maybe there's a natural remedy for this. Maybe there's something in, the water, or maybe in a plant.
It's very important to document this.
I cannot convince you to allow me out. But allow me to convince you to do the test that I was hoping to do. Take Rogers here, the most paralyzed amongst us. I think a live dissection to figure out the root of this thing is one of the only...
Rogers been through enough?
Yes, all the more reason for us to use Rogers to figure out the source of this thing. I could do it from in here if need be, but I don't have the tools and equipment I would need to safely, and I don't... Unfortunately, I did broach it with some of the others in here, and they don't seem to understand how important it is.
This is unbecoming of you, Horace.
What? Shouldn't we do it on you if we're going to do it on anyone?
Well, no, because it hasn't advanced far enough in me.
Oh.
That would be I would generously put my body on the line.
This is very unbecoming of you, Horace. After gallivanting around with the child.
Well, how does Rogers feel about it?
Getting Kana killed.
Rogers is currently in a state.
Sure.
I don't think he can consent to us chopping him up.
He did say, "Kill me before I kill you all."
Are you even partway on board with this?
Well, I'm just sort of thinking that we need to make sure that this doesn't spread, and we do need to understand it and document it as well as possible. I don't think anyone should come out of there, but if someone is volunteering their body for science...
Sure! What? This goes against everything we've talked about.
Well, what can I say? I want to make sure that the mission is a success.
As do I, and we will not get there by killing off poor Kenbert robbers.
Listen, Nils, you're right. It may be too soon for a live dissection, but don't rule it out. It may become necessary. Are there more samples I can help collect, at least?
I think your part here is done.
I mean, I did come to collect your stool, so just put it through the slot.
All right, fine. I'll gather the other samples as well. And he goes around and collects everyone's stool samples.
Indeed.
And passes them through the slot.
One by one.
Nils reaches in and grabs them up greedily. Thank you.
For the good of the Lightbearer-Alpha, do what needs to be done. We're all going to die here. We'll all burn in the water. Excuse me, sorry about that.
Well, we need to get these samples back to the lab. We won't find a cure if we tarry here with you.
Not talking.
Bangs on the glass. Burn, I say.
Talking with a madman. Nils takes the bucket of stool and puts it under his arm and turns and stomps out of the room.
See.
And am I doing the next scene?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds
good.
Right?
Yeah. So who's there? Charbonneau is there, of course.
I can get another, if you want to throw an NPC in the mix, I can have like
Well,
a
we
s-
talked about Rogers. We talked about Dr. Patel.
You can also do a 2-person scene.
I also, that's true, but you know I love 3-person scenes. I also wrote down the name Yoshi.
I think it makes sense because it'll complicate your guys' scenes.
All right, do you
have
know
your
who you
characters.
want to play as, or
You guys decide who you want in, and I'll
Okay.
be that person.
I'm digging it with Nils, so I think we're going to be in the scene together. Since we're in such a short period of time, only 2 days to get this done, I feel like that this scene happens mere hours after the last one. It's pretty quickly thereafter. I think we're in the lab, and the work is being done. Shar Banu is there to document the work. Nils is doing part of the work, and someone else is there doing the work as well. Wael?
Clem Yoshi.
It's Clem Yoshi.
Clem.
Got it. Clem Yoshi's there. Got it. Who's our veterinary? Our botanist?
Yeah, she's a Clem or Clementine. Yoshi.
Clementine. Yeah,
Hmm.
exactly. You know,
I'd say she's like a biologist.
biologist.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. So Clem's there. She's a biologist. Shar Banu's there, and Nils is there. Cool. We are trying to find the fucking cure for this shit. I'm saying I find it very interesting, the pace of this work. You have to be so precise. It goes so slowly.
Could you pass me that beaker?
Yes, of course.
Oh, go on.
I've been keeping an eye on the others,
Mm.
and everyone seems to be completely healthy. It doesn't seem like this is spread. I'm not sure if it will spread. What do you think, Clem? Do you think it's contagious?
Until I get more reports in, I really can't say. I'm running a biopsy on the flesh. I'm also running a biopsy on the mastodon flesh. We'll see. It might be something transferred from another prey that was ingested by the predator.
That makes sense.
Interesting theory. What are the reports saying? What's your data pointing towards?
I just am in the midst of submitting. Nothing conclusive as of yet. It'll be some time yet.
Yes, nothing conclusive. It's a quick
Difficult.
disease. It's hard. I mean, Rome wasn't built in a day, ladies and gentlemen. We can only do what we can do.
Indeed. Shar Banu shuts off her recorder as she slides closer to Nils. Oh, very interesting. Yes.
I'm trying to isolate the protein.
I really don't. Honest. Here's the deal. Can an antidote be created? Is it possible?
It could be possible if we had the time. I don't know if we'll have the time.
If we had, say, a limited quantity of the antidote,
Yes.
who would we give it to first? Those that are worse off? Those who are better off?
Well, we test with the one who is the worst off and the one who is the least worst off, and we see how they respond. We draw lots. We could do it randomly.
That makes sense. We should do that.
I couldn't help it over here. I would assume we would do it on a merit-based system. Who's most important to the mission?
Well, that's an interesting take.
I mean, it should be about saving as many as we can, shouldn't it? That's what's most important. That we're all here.
But we need to be a viable system. We're here for a
Viable?
reason.
What viable to who?
To the
Our-
rest of
Some
the colony.
overlords off in the distance coming to use us to land here? We sacrificed our freedom and our lives.
For this opportunity.
Listen, you can speculate all you want. I'm going to get back to my lab work, but it's not going to be a random selection when it comes down to who gets this vaccine. If there's even a vaccine involved, let's not talk about.
Well, I sure hope that you don't get infected, Clem.
Yes. No. This is interesting. Vaccine. Clem, that's it. We need to inject the disease into something with antibodies that can fight it. We don't have the antibodies. We're humans. We can't fight this disease. But those bug monsters out there, why?
What do
Well,
you
you'd
think,
want
Clem?
to. I mean, you'd have to.
I flick my recorder back on at this point.
It would have to be something. I mean, effectively, you'd want to introduce some sort of human element, some sort of human biology into the mix, so that there's something on the other end for us to use.
By the gods, I have it. Milo isn't all human.
Milo.
Yes, his genes have been spliced.
Yeah, but spliced with with genetic material from our planet.
Yes.
These creatures don't even have the same basic genetic structure as us.
So you're saying we need to change Milo's DNA?
No, I'm saying we should probably feed someone to one of the creatures, and then we'll harvest
Well, that
the antibodies from it.
Well, I
How
do.
long will that take?
I do remember Horse saying that he was ready to, give up his body for science.
Now there's an idea.
Yeah,
I mean, I have the recording.
again, this is
Yeah.
this is all theoretical. I note that you're recording this for communication and further archiving.
No, but
So
the
this is-
history
you're
should
a
go
genius.
down.
No,
Glam Yoshi.
This is
Lam Yoshi.
completely
Feed the leader to one of those mastodons out there and
it's
create some kind of a.
again. We don't even know if
To
it.
save us all.
We don't know if a vaccine that would even work.
Well, Clem, you're one of our best scientists.
Again, if there's a merit-based situation, if we do have a vaccine, yes, I will probably get it because, yes, I am probably one of the best scientists. That's not under dispute. I'm theorizing here.
So we should take a vote, maybe. Let's get everyone together and just vote on it.
I don't know. I'd have to. I don't have enough information. I would have to abstain from from such a vote.
Noted.
Yes, so the vote would be to feed Horse.
Horse did mention he wanted to save us all. But I mean, I wouldn't. We should maybe draw lots.
Yes.
Again, I'm all about a merit-based system. I find the weakest link that's infected.
The weakest or the one who's most responsible for all of us being here?
Something to consider.
That's-
That's our scene.
We interrupt our story here and we'll resume in our next communique. I was one of your players, John Holtz. You can find me on Twitter at LordJoho and on Instagram at board_ghost. You can find my media review podcast at newtoshow.com. You can find the book club podcast at woundandstab.com. Ken, where can people find you?
Board Ghost, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Berlingsbeard, BERLNGS Beard. I am a for-hire dungeon master in the New York City area. Please hire me to run your games. I'd love to meet you and run games for you.
I am one of your players, Dalton Gray. I'm currently not super findable. I'm working on some stuff under NDA, can't talk about too much. If you've heard of the Adventure Society, we're a arts collective. We make games at the intersection of theater and game design. We've got some cool stuff coming out. Keep your ears peeled. You can check me out on Twitter at Daltonomous.
And so at Daltonomous, and where, if people wanted to learn more about your group.
We just did a bunch of cool stuff. We were at the Asheville Fringe Festival. I just came from the U.S. Coalition for Play, where we presented a bunch of stuff, but we're at the moment in development.
Fantastic.
So we're in the works on a couple productions. You can also check me out at ESC Games. If you're in the New York area, be sure to check out Come Out and Play. It's a street festival run by a lot of really amazing game designers here in New York. I will definitely be presenting something, whether under ESC or the Adventure Society. So you can check out that day of street games.
Cool. Very cool. All right. To learn more about the players and engine in our story, visit boardghost.com. You can help us in making the show by going to our Patreon at patreon.com/boardghost, where you can patronize us, help us in making this thing and funding it. You can get access to art, to exclusive early access to the episode, so get the whole story in one posting, and you can get access to some exclusive how to play videos for some of these great games that we get going on here. You can attempt to pierce the veil and contact us at Board Ghost World on Twitter. Shout out through the ether if you have desires we can fulfill. Leave reviews and comments on iTunes, your preferred listening portal, and take a moment to subscribe so you don't miss out on the latest episodes. We'd like to thank Pat Couples for our theme song and interlude music. You can find more about Pat at patcouples.tumblr.com or on his band's website, hotelsandhighways.com. If you're not alone in the void, share our stories. The more they are consumed, the truer they become.
Dying don't agree with me.